What's up, guys and gals? It's your host of the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Kengan Omega. Kengan Omega, chapter 212, entitled Something to Hide. Before we get underway with the review, you guys probably recognize it's quite late in getting out. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for understanding why there was no content last week, due to all the wildfires around my area. We were sort of packed bags with insurance policies pulled out, waiting at a moment's notice to evacuate. It wasn't exactly a great time to be recording and happy and energetic and stuff. So, but thankfully that situation seemingly seems to be under control now as of this weekend. So let's get to recording and let's just jump into Kengan Omega chapter 212. I did briefly read the chapter when it came out, but I haven't. It hasn't really stuck with me other than the fact that, well, they found Ryuki. So we're just going to sort of go through this, not a live reaction, but just to re-jog the old memory. What can I say? I'm getting kind of up in years. So anyways, I do know that when this chapter came out, I was really expecting more of a fight between Oma and Mukaku. And we get a slight one, but it's more of a scuffle. It's more of a skirmish than anything else, sort of sizing each other up before the battle's over, before it really can get underway, before it really begins. We learn a couple of interesting things, and there's another big cliffhanger. I feel like all these chapters, there's like a big dun-dun-dun at the end of each week of Kengan Omega. In this particular chapter, as I said, Retsudo and Oma basically start out, they're going to fight Mukaku, right? And right out of the gate, Oma says, I don't even recognize this stance, so be careful, right? He must have developed the Nico style in a different direction, just like all of them were. So that's why they know slightly different things. That's why Tiger Nico's and Faye's version is different, or Fai's version is different than what Oma and Agito know, and why Fours is different, Mukaku's is different, all this stuff, right? So starting to make a lot more sense that this is a style that is very malleable. You can move it in different directions. You just have to sit down and consider which way to take the style. All 7 Nikos took it sort of slightly variations in their own way. So you like a versatile style like that. I'm not a Nico style hater like a lot of the fan base, so I got no problem with that. Now, what the hell is Koga doing thinking he can actually, Oma literally has to jump in and save his ass. Koga is a burden on this crew. We all knew that he was gonna be, and this is no exception right here. It's like, Koga, you are no match you didn't even win the Berserker Bowl. This is Gao goddamn Mukaku. You are not doing this, because right out of the way, he uses an attack called Demon Wheel, Nico style Demon Wheel. I don't remember that being on the list. Demon's Bane is on the list, but Demon Wheel, I don't remember that move. If it was named before, my mistake. But anyways, Oma recognizes the danger and grabs Koga and pulls him back just in time, by the way, literally just in time. He's right by the nose, and taking off nose hairs sort of idea, right? And just out of this world sort of an attack. And so Oma pulls him back. And he goes, thanks for the save. He's like, you should not be engaging this man in the first place, right? He goes, he knocked you off balance, and if that next hit had landed, you'd already be dead. So, Oma's saying, why don't you stay out of this without staying out of this? So, Retsudo goes 1v1 against him for a little bit, keeps Gao Mukaku backtracking for a few seconds at least, but then instantly destroys Retsudo's knife. Then he goes for an Adamantian Kata Iron Breaker, the classic Fists of Steel, boom baby, and Oma manages to jump in front of Retsudo in time using his own 2-arm indestructible, right? So boom, slam, still manages to knock back both Oma into Retsudo, and they both go flying. Now Oma seems to be okay, but still, an Iron Breaker from the man who invented the style, goddamn, that's gotta hurt. So this is where so Retsudo ends up getting a transmission that he apparently found Ryuki or whatever. Either way, he gets a transmission, and he basically says to Oma, thanks for the save, hold him off for me. And so Oma goes, sure, yeah. So Retsudo actually ditches. So they don't have Mikuzuchi here, and they don't have Retsudo here. So Oma's basically got a 1v1 this guy, because Koga's no goddamn help. In fact, that's hurting Koga, not hurting Oma, not helping him. So Oma straight up just says, Koga, go with him. I'll take him on. I have to. And it's like Oma's here for pride reasons. He really wants to take Mukaku down a notch to prove that his Nico was right, that 4 was right, you know, and you were wrong, sort of idea. So Oma wants to prove that his Nico style can beat yours, sort of idea. You were wrong. At least that's the sort of the thing that I'm getting from it, that Oma wants to prove a point here. So that's when Koga does listen and he runs off and stuff. So though he does manage to get into Oma's arms, by the way, from taking that one Iron Breaker, even with Indestructible, are already bruised. And he gets a cut right away when Mukaku attacks, even though he defends it. Mukaku basically says, you think you're going to be able to take me on, brat, sort of idea, and all that fun jazz. He also says, you never learned how to use a weapon properly, did you? So Mukaku has now pulled out a knife. That's how he managed to cut Oma's hand. Now, Oma knows how to fight against weapon users. We've seen that before to a degree, and raised in the inside, he used to use a knife. If we all recall correctly, he did use a knife. But was he ever formally trained like one? No. So Mukaku is basically saying the idiot 4 wanted to specialize the Nico style for hand-to-hand combat only. He never taught you how to use weapons like the style is meant to, sort of idea. So this implies that all 7 Nikos learned how to fight both unarmed and armed combat with the initial style as they slowly develop their own versions of the Nico style, right? Or the Gao style. This actually leads back to, once again, the Gao style is meant for people to fight with weapons. Even though some of the moves like Earth Crouching Dragon and all this stuff, they are normally meant, they're using their, you know, their hands and their feet and stuff as the weapons in lieu of, but the Gao style actually specialized in weapons combat. We learned that at the beginning of the series. So there is that. But this is where Oma basically retorts with, I don't need any killing moves, and I learned how to fend off a weapon, you know, and we know that. So they're going to continue their fight. Unfortunately, we jump away, though this is good because they do end up finding Koga and Retsudo are running. One of the transmitters finally went online or whatever that he had on Ryuki, because he said not all of them could have been destroyed. I had many placed on them. So he's in the range of the signal now. So pretty much he is going to try to find, Retsudo thinks they're going to end up finding the body, not the actual, like, they're not going to find Ryuki alive, which he doesn't speak this out loud, but I mean, it's the general conclusion you could reach here. And either way, they meet up with Ryo, and that's where they all find this little shed here. This is where the signal got cut off, so it's in a storehouse, and they find a big stone slab thing that Mukaku is keeping something to hide, and they find out that it's an underground passageway that leads to this big bone cavern with a bunch of dead bodies, and everyone's like holding it. It's a terrible stench because it's the smell of death and decay and stuff, right? All this rot and everything. So they go down to this place. You know, he's not even above ground and stuff, and then we see Ryuki just bent over, chained up to the wall like a Gyu ritual or some shit, you know. Well, the Gyu ritual, they don't really chain them up, but still, he's been beaten black and blue. You can tell he's been starved. He's just got these dead eyes. Ryuki is completely beside himself. And then when Retsudo lights a match, lights his lighter, which by the way, has no one taught you about fire safety, Retsudo? And I'm not saying this just because of the wildfires, but seriously, when you go underground without a sniffer, which is what you call the device, basically CO2 detectors, all the toxic gas detectors. If you don't go down there with that lighting, how do you not know that the area might be flammable? Like the air quality, you know, there might be a flammable, air in the cavern. So taking a big chance there, Retsudo. It's just a little nitpick because I do work underground sometimes in tunnels and stuff, and that's the big thing. You always need that thing on because you never know what could have leaked, what could be in the actual dirt and ground itself. You know, it doesn't take long, and they seem to be pretty underground. That's where a lot of toxic gases and stuff originate from in nature. So I'm just like, whoa. But the stench is, of course, it's just a little nitpick for fun, but the stench is coming from all the bones and all the dead bodies everywhere and stuff, right? So Koga, of course, rushes forth to Ryuki, you know, saying like, hang tight, don't die on me, we're going to save you, all this stuff. and they just recognize that these are all a bunch of human bones all over this cavern. It's like, holy shit, what is this dude's thing? This is where we jump back to the fight. Gao Mukaku is pushing Oma back, of course. Like, it's just going to be one of these things. So Oma's like, he's not showing any openings. What's he going to do next? All right, so Oma's prepped and ready to go. And then he surrenders just out of the blue. Big, once again, like I said before, big cliffhangers, seemingly, with these chapters. Just ending these chapters on a, why? What? Not in a bad way, just in a, oh, okay, what's happening next chapter? It's definitely keeping us in suspense, I like to think. And then at the end, he basically says, now that you guys found the room, so he automatically knows that they found the skull room, the dungeon. He said, it's game, set, and match. Way to ruin everything for me, idiots. Now, once again, is Gao Mukaku trying to destroy the current worm still? If that's the case, which it seems to be the case, Gao Mukaku is one of these perfect examples of the ends don't justify the means. He's still, he's still trying to, what's a good way to put this? I'm not sure. He's still trying to end the war. He's still trying to destroy the worm, but his methods and the paths he's chosen to do so, the sacrifices, and it's all for the greater good mentality, is not agreeable with a lot of these, our other characters and our own morality and stuff like that, is what I'm feeling is happening here. So, curiously, what does he mean by this? Now that they found the room, everything's over, and it ruins everything. Like, this man has been trying, he's apparently still over 100, so I mean, this man has been trying for a good century to take down this goddamn worm, and, like, I don't know. That's the end of the chapter. I don't know what he means by this. I'm sure other people have come up with theories. Definitely, I assume Miss Content came out with a review. Definitely go check that out. Maybe he's got an idea on what they ruined by finding Ryuki, how that ruins everything for him, and why he would just give up. Like, I'm not saying that with Mikazuchi, Retsudo, and Oma they couldn't take Gao Mukaku down. I'm saying that right now it's Oma versus him. And they only really got to spar, and that's kind of disappointing. They never actually got to go all out. We didn't get to see a whole lot of different moves from Mukaku. Oma basically never really got to attack him even once. Kind of disappointing in that regard, but I am very curious as to what the end of this chapter means. So, anyways, that's the review, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed. Sorry it was so late, but once again, thank you, everyone, to being understanding about the lack of content this week due to the wildfires in the area. And, all that stuff. And for all the kind messages, I did see them. I will be responding to them now that I've finally, things seem to be all right again. I'll be responding to all those ones when I posted that on YouTube that, there wouldn't be any content this week. So, thanks for all the well wishes and all that stuff, guys. Really, very, very much appreciated. And, with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you back here next time for Kengan Omega, Chapter 213. That review is probably going to be out, in a day or two, because, this is quite a late review, but is what it is. Thank you guys still for watching if you did, and we'll see you back here next time. Have a good one. Sayonara, everybody.